Hey, what's good everybody? It's Thonk. Today I want to talk to you guys about a topic that I think is very fitting for me right now, and it might be able to help you guys out as well. I see questions all the time like this about, oh, I've been gone from the game a long time. I haven't played in a couple months, just getting back into the meta. What do I do? How do I get back into it? So today I want to let you guys know how I get back into League of Legends, considering I've had a nice layoff myself for some special reasons. Yeah, your boy got married. What's good? I love that woman. She's the best. All right, on to the video at hand. So, how do you get back into League of Legends after maybe a special occasion, maybe some things happen, maybe your computer broke, or most likely... Come on, let's be real. We all know what it is. So, you're gone for a long time, and now you come back. You got that itch. You've been watching Worlds. You've been watching your streamers. You say, you know what? Now's the time. I love it. What do I do? Oh, no. So, what's the first step? It's gonna seem a little obvious to you, but hear me out. Open the client. Boom, step one. Actually click the icon, open up the client, log in. That is step one. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, duh, Thonk, how can I play League if I don't open the client? Well, young man, let's have a little talk. Let's be honest here, guys. Everyone's had it. Everyone does this. You're excited, you're ready to go back and play, you just watch Worlds, and you go down, you go to open it up, and here's what happens. Whew, here we go. About to play some League of Legends. Alright, let's get it. But what if I'm bad? What if I've lost it? What if I get demoted? What if I lose all my LP? You know what? Let's just play COD instead. Yeah. Okay. Happens to everyone. It's not uncommon. It's not just you. And so many times people ask, well, how do I get over it? What do I do? How do I get over the anxiety? And my tip to you, you gotta start somewhere. And that place is opening up the client. Next thing I like to do personally is I like to jump into an ARAM. Why? Because you gotta warm up your fingers. You gotta get used to the clicks, you gotta get used to the key presses. You gotta get used to how fast these champions move. The best way to do that for me personally is to jump into an ARAM. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of dodging, clicking, back and forth. Help familiarize yourself with the game by playing an ARAM. That's what I tend to do. Next up, go ahead and jump into some normals, some blind normals. The whole purpose of doing normals is so that you can kind of get back to having fun, right? We want to get over the anxiety. So we want to remember that we play this game to have fun, right? Best way to do that, in my opinion, is to jump into some normals, kind of let yourself loose, play a role you never play some champions you never play, and just have a good time. Normals is the perfect place for you to just kind of let loose, have fun, push your boundaries, make some mistakes. Go ahead and play without fear, because everyone is kind of in the same mindset here, right? In normals blind pick, you have a lot of people that are playing mostly just to try something new, play something they haven't played before. Maybe it's not a different role, but you know, as long as you're playing to win, everyone's gonna have fun. Everyone's gonna have a good time. Rarely do you see rage quits or you know, flame or toxicity in these queues, because hopefully everyone is of the same mindset that, hey, I'm playing normals, I need to warm up, maybe I'm tilted, maybe I don't want to play ranked right now, I'm still playing to win, but I just want you to know this isn't my ranked A game. After playing a couple of norms blind, you're pushing your boundaries, you're having fun, you want to kind of start to take it back to the try hard mode now, right? So now you're going to go back to your role. Maybe you're playing some champions you don't usually play, but at least you're going to familiarize yourself with that role again. Now we want to get back to the fundamentals. We're in our role again. We're in our safe space. We might be playing some champions that we haven't played before, but we want to work on the fundamentals. Things like CSing, positioning, looking at the mini-map, working on your vision score. These things are basic, so we want to try and work on those before we get into the really, really hard stuff. Before we get into ranked solo queue, we want to make sure, or flex queue if that's your thing, we want to make sure that we work on our basics. Alright, this next part I want to talk about, I like to call tabs to success. Oftentimes when you return to League after a long layoff, patches have hit. Patches come every 2 weeks, big things change, meta shifts happen. Tabs to success are here for you. In my personal opinion, every League player should have their own set of tabs to success. Maybe you have your own resources. Maybe you have your own players you like. Either way, I highly recommend you get your own set of tabs to success. These are the tabs that I use to get myself caught up to speed. I usually have these up whenever I'm playing anyway. They're always here. Okay, so the first one is League of Legends game updates. This is where I look here, I hit refresh. Okay, what's going on? Clash, yada yada yada. Patch notes. Boom. Now I can look at the most recent patch notes, scroll through, and see what pertains to me. Patch notes are a big deal if you want to stay very competitive in this game. You got to know what happens to champions. Maybe your favorite champion gets nerfed. Maybe a champion you hate gets buffed. Personally, here's how I go through the patch notes. Eventually, I read them all. But let's say I get back, I kind of just want to jump into the game. Oh, it's a new patch. Let me see what's going on. I kind of scroll through, right? And I'm looking for things that jump out to me that pertain to my role. I'm a jungler. I kind of want to look for jungle champions. Alistar, Ashe, Soul, I don't really care. Draven, whatever. Ezreal, not really a big deal for me. Aurelia, Ivern, these are kind of important. Let me see. Movement speed, nerf, okay, whatever. Ivern buffs, hate this champion, cool, good to know. Alright, keep scrolling, and then you kind of go through the whole patch that way, right? We get through the champions, some nerfs, some buffs, yada yada yada. Focus on the ones that pertain to you and your role first. Those are most important to you. Then you can worry about everyone else. Now these next set of tabs are all about understanding the meta for me. So when I'm going through these tabs here, these are a bunch of different sites, u.gg, champion.gg, Lolalytics, and Pro Builds. This is all for me to get a good idea as to who's strong and who's weak, right? And again, initially, I'm only really worried about what's important to me, right? So let's just use u.gg, for example. I go on their tier list and I see, go over to jungle and sort by win rate. Ooh, Shaco and Udyr are both high right now. I personally don't like either of those champions, so now I'm starting to form who do I want to ban in my head, right? I've got Shaco, who I personally, whenever he's strong, permaban, because I hate playing up against him. Not because he's popular. You see his pick rate's only 4.6%, right? But when he's played by someone who is good, oh, it's a terror. I hate it. So we kind of go through here, and I look here, you know, you can go mid, whatever, and you can sort by their tier list too. Cool, but the important thing here for me is to not just stick to one site, is to cross-reference. So I'm looking at junglers here, they say the win rates, and they say the tiers. Okay, let's see what champion.gg has to say. We go in their jungle, look at the win rates, about the same. Udyr, Tryndamere, Shaco, all kind of high. Okay, we go over to Lolalytics, we go to their tier list, and they have Jackson Talia in the top. Whoa, pause, 1 second. Things are a little bit different now, right? So now we take this information and we look across here. We see Jackson Talia a little bit high, not as high as the other two. And for their tier list, Jax is S+, Talia's S+, so it kind of all makes sense, right? So make sure you cross-reference, make sure you do your research, and use this to kind of catch up to what's the meta right now. So after you figure out what the meta is, or you feel comfortable about what champions are strong, it's time for you to pick a champion that you want to start playing again. You played around in the normals. We've kind of caught back up to speed. We feel good about the way that we're playing right now in general. So now it's time to actually play. So let's use Graves as an example. We'll go over here and we'll click on his name and we'll kind of look through, okay, this is what he uses. This is how, you know, they're built him, his Q, yada, yada, yada. But we also want to check other sites. We got to cross-reference. So we'll go over to champion.gg and do the same. And so here we'll kind of take a look. Oh, there's a bit of a difference. Champion.gg has Dark Harvest being the prominent build path for both most frequent and highest win, where u.gg has Fleet Footwork. Okay, no big deal. This is where my next favorite site comes into play. This is where I'll go to probuilds.net. I love this site because I can see how the pros play. Now, disclaimer, just because a pro plays like this does not mean, or uses this build, does not mean that this is best for solo queue. But we'll go ahead and we'll type in Graves, and we'll see how the pros are playing Graves. So, right off the bat, looking at the live feed here, you can see that the pros that are playing Graves in the jungle, right, they've got Smite. There's a nice mix. Even an Electrocute thrown in there, even though we haven't seen it on the other side. So we've got Fleet Footwork, we've got Dark Harvest, and so now we're kind of thinking, okay, which one is more prominent? You scroll down, it's all kind of a good mix, so it looks like it's matchup based, or it looks like it depends on what you prefer. So let's go ahead and dive into one of these fleet footwork ones, and we can kind of see the build here too. So this is all about research beforehand. This is preparation. These tabs to success are about preparing for the meta, knowing before you jump into the game what you're looking for and what you want to do. And then of course we have op.gg, which of course is to help you track. They've also got their own statistics and leaderboards and matches and stuff like that, so you can look at too. I usually don't use them for the statistics, although they are a very good site for stats. I mostly stick to just tracking my own progress and the progress of others. Alright, so those are my tabs to success. Hopefully you like one and pick it up. I highly recommend all of them. I enjoy all of them because I like looking at all the different sets of data. If I've missed one that you prefer, go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll be sure to check it out. So now, you're warmed up, you've done your research, you read up on the patch notes. Now it's time for the real thing. Almost. Let's have a little discussion about FlexQ. So, Riot missed the mark on FlexQ. Just a little bit. They intended FlexQ to be a more competitive ranked queue for those who wanted to play in a larger team environment. Well, what actually happened is that it became kind of the Fiesta queue. That being said, FlexQ is still an option for competitive teams. If you want to play with your friends in a competitive environment, FlexQ is where it's at. A lot of players do still use FlexQ as their prominent and main queue in their rank, and there's nothing wrong with that. So this is where you're going to practice the real thing, almost. Now, the good thing about FlexQ is that you've got every part of ranked. You've got the draft, you've got players that want to win, you've got the try hard, but the bad part about FlexQ, it is kind of the Fiesta queue, and if you go in solo, you're likely going to be going up against players that have a lot of communication. They're going to be on comms, they're going to have played together, they are going to be able to outmaneuver you if they're good enough. The other bad part about FlexQ is that you get wild elos. You can get anything from a bronze to a master player all in your game because of their solo queue rating. Because you have a different solo queue rating than a flex rating. So me personally, I use FlexQ to practice a champion that I am not quite ready to take into ranked, but I feel like deserves a little more competition than just normal blind pick. So here's a good place if you're like me and don't care as much about your FlexQ rating. This is a good place for you to practice and really get back into the swing of the competitive fervor of solo queue. Now along with that comes the flame and the blame and all the challenges that come with it. In fact, you're much more likely to get heavier flame because they're going to be on comms talking about you. This is where that mental fortitude comes in, right? Stand strong, mute all if you have to, and keep on going because we've got places to be. We've got goals to reach. Now, finally, it's time to hit up solo. Time to jump in. 2 feet first, hit play, do it. Now, you're probably worried. You're probably still a little anxious. You don't want to lose LP. But you just have to remember that there will be regression. You will lose. You're not going to be as good. You can't expect to pick up right where you left off. Yes, it's like riding a bike, right? But you don't get on the bike and think that you're going to fly down the hill with no hands, right? Well, we've taken the time. We've warmed up. We've pedaled the bike a little bit. We've learned about the bike. We've taken it off a ramp. No, we haven't quite done that yet, but it might be time to ride with no handlebars. And yes, I know I'm going to lose some LP. I'm not going to play as well as I used to. I've been gone so long I decayed back to Plat 1 from Diamond 4. It's been a minute. I know that with time we're going to play games, we're going to get back to that level, and then eventually we're going to get back on the path of improvement. All you got to do is jump. Just take that first step, take that leap of faith, jump into solo queue, get back to plan. Once you get through that first game, whew, the nerves are gone. Then it's just about continuing the process, working on your fundamentals, working on playing and improving each game, trust in the process, and eventually the climb will begin again for you. This is a marathon, not a sprint, all right? Anyway, the end of the season's almost here. I'm going to get back to my climb. I got to hit Diamond before the end of the year, and I hope you do too. Maybe I'll catch you at the finish line. But as always, I'm Thonk. I hope you learned something. Keep your head up. Keep grinding.